began with modestly lit video footage of an empty bed, a pair of guitars leaning against the mattress, and it is yet to end. Anthony Solari enters the frame, alone, clutching a sixth string, singing as if his heart's in a vice. Little did Solari know that at the time of the off-the-cuff clip, shot with a single camera, would catalyze his first big break in the music business. It's easy to have a dream, but it's even easier to lose one. The inevitable hardships that come along with goals are just waiting in the sidelines, ready to do anything they can to strip those dreams from our hands. How many of us can say that we actually fought and gave it all we had to make those dreams reality? I know someone who has. Me. I can still picture myself there, with a broken family fresh from divorce. I can remember feeling ashamed. Not only had my father forsaken his children, but being the sole breadwinner, he had also deprived us of basic necessities too. My mother was left to try to juggle our collapsing life while dealing with the all-too-recent heartbreak herself. The utilities were the first to go. I can still feel the sharp sting of frozen water during my morning shower, and let me tell you, nothing wakes you up for school like having to endure one. It wasn't as bad as the electricity though, and with our lights gone, there was no juice for the air conditioning, so it died too. It was the beginning of summer in southern Arizona and not the time to lose cooling. Luckily for me, it was my senior year of high school, and within a few months there would be no more need for me to pretend like my world was okay during class. But I knew what I had to look forward to after school at home, and somehow I convinced myself that I deserved it too. Because my soul wasn't functioning anymore, and I wanted the dark, hot loneliness of our busted home to console it. My mom started selling off family things to keep us afloat, but we were never able to afford the full rent once during those months. My part-time job paycheck never went towards fixing cars or parties or clothes, but for food and rent contributions for my brother, my mother, and I. The landlords took pity on us, but they couldn't keep making up the difference either. The blue Ford van was repossessed one day while I was walking home from school, and soon after we were served a 30-day eviction notice courtesy of a local sheriff in blue. Numbness is a distinct memory of that year. In the midst of graduating, I was also frantically moving to the opposite side of the highway, to a single-wide, rose-colored manufactured home with custom hand-built living quarters attached to the side. I had lost my pride long before the move, so I was just thankful now to have a place to lay my head. But I found a way to make myself feel better a few months later. I was looking for direction in life. Since I never spoke to my father and my mother was in the condition similar to that of a zombie for a long time, the normal resources for guidance were exhausted. One night, actually around 1 a.m. while I was working the graveyard shift at a local health club, inspiration from a television show led me into what would become my dream and a way out. To be a successful singer-songwriter, a musician. It felt like it would be the perfect way to express myself, and it automatically felt right, and so my mind was made up. The next day I found myself spending the little amount of money I had to buy my first guitar, an Ibanez Spruce C20 series acoustic. From that day on, wherever I went, and I mean anywhere, the guitar was in tow. I played so much that the tips of my fingers bled until they began to form calluses. I had no idea how to actually play, but having something, a dream to look forward to, was all the motivation I needed. Somehow having a goal was my way out of the hell I was in. My dream to be a successful songwriter was absolutely dear to me because it was also hope. Hope that had been cruelly torn away and forgotten for way too long. 2 years passed, and with all my playing, writing, and singing, I decided to venture away. I was leaving, not from home, because at that time in my life I didn't feel like I had a home. Music was my refuge from the elements, and music was leading me to Las Vegas to prove myself. I wanted to present myself as a musician. I wanted to live that life. The only problem was, I didn't know how. I'd heard that there was a local spot off the beaten path that up-and-comers frequented, an open mic that numerous bigwigs presented to pluck and prune the next big things. I thought all I had to do was show up and it would be a done deal. There was a problem though. I was absolutely beside myself with fear. It's one thing to sing and play in your bedroom and a whole other dimension to play for strangers. So I decided not to go. I let fear and doubt settle inside my stomach and slowly churn itself into a terrible monster. Who was I to believe I could do this? I was a 20-year-old from a broken world that had no support. This was crazy, and so was I. I was lost again. But help would soon come, and it came from an unlikely place, my father. Out of obscurity, the person who had caused one of the worst periods of my life was at my doorstep asking for forgiveness. And my feelings were more complicated than advanced aerodynamic software, but I did a thing that I'm proud of still today. I forgave my father. I suppose in doing so I was trying to bury all the hurt and put it rest once and for all. What became of forgiving him was a new relationship between us. A cautious one, but still a relationship nonetheless. My father asked me to play something for him. He had heard somewhere along the lines that I was in the process of becoming a musician. He was interested in what I could do. I played a song for him, a slow and pulsing one that was coupled with enduring lyrics of hurt and confusion. It was like playing for a stranger, actually, because I had erased him from my mind for so long at that point. After playing, I was met with his astonished face. "I can't believe how good you are," he said. But I wasn't going to get anywhere just because someone from my family thought I was. For all I knew, he could have just been sprouting praises for all the wrong he'd done before. Either way, I was eager to have someone on my side, and that's exactly what I got. My father made it his mission to do whatever he could to get me where I wanted to go. His opinion, time, support, everything I had gone without was suddenly poured out to me. With it, I felt revitalized and wanted my dream even more. I had the support I needed to move it a little bit closer into reality. I'd never been so tangled with nerves prior to that moment. My big opportunity was here, I thought. This was it. As I walked onto the stage, I could feel the eyes of the patrons sizing me up. People started to shuffle and readjust themselves to face the stage, and all I could think about was the sweat that was beginning to multiply on my face. I was introduced.